What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so um, saw this segment on ESPN today where once again they keep trying to introduce this idea that Giannis needs to leave Milwaukee. He needs to leave Milwaukee, and the team they keep trying to push him to go to is Miami. And what have we been telling you guys for several years now? Right? We've been telling you for several years, but we don't know what we're talking about, right? Even though they keep proving us correct, that these guys really don't want to cover the NBA as far as actually covering every team in the league. They really want to only cover 4 or 5 teams, big market teams. And they really want their main stars in their large markets. That's what they're always pushing. You know what I'm saying? Giannis, several years ago, before they won the championship, the media was kissing his ass. Remember that? Remember when you had all these guys saying the only thing Giannis is missing is a jump shot? Remember Reggie Miller kept saying, if Giannis gets a jump shot, it's over. He's going to be Michael Jordan on steroids. Remember that? If he gets a jump shot, it's over. The game is over. He's the most dominant player in the league since Shaq. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because they thought they could pressure Giannis into leaving, because they also would say Giannis needs to go to Miami. Giannis needs to go to the Lakers. Giannis needs to go to this big market team and team up with this guy. But Giannis didn't do that. Giannis stayed in Milwaukee and won a championship that they actually resented because it didn't go. That championship that the Bucks won wasn't part of the agenda. They didn't want Giannis to win that championship in Milwaukee. So they resented him for that. So what did they do? They stopped praising Giannis. They stopped giving him accolades. They started shutting him out for the most part in the MVP conversation. Sure, he might be listed third or fourth, but he's never. But now, ever since like the championship, he's not talked about in the discussion, in the back and forth major discussions as far as MVP. You don't hear him being talked about Defensive Player of the Year award anymore, or reigning or eligible for that. When they talk about the best two-way players in the game, he's not brought up like he used to be. It's all by design. So here we go. Despite the fact that the Bucks finished the season winning their last 8 games, the hottest team in the NBA, they're talking about Giannis should leave the Bucks. Why? When the Milwaukee Bucks have made so many major changes in the second half of this season, which has led to an improvement in the team. They don't talk about the major development of Kevin Porter Jr. So let me get this straight. Despite the fact that the Bucks won 8 straight games in a row, the Nuggets have faltered. They fired their coach. There's so much disarray, they claim. But yet, it's Giannis that should leave, not Jokic. Giannis should leave, not Jokic. Jokic gets an excuse to just put up numbers and don't win any more titles, because his numbers just is good enough to validate getting an MVP award every year. You know what I'm saying? According to his fans, he just puts up those numbers and he wins the MVP because the built-in excuse is the lesser players around him holding him back. Whereas with Giannis, he's supposed to win championships with slightly better than mediocre or average rosters. Because, other guys, they need 4 or 5 superstars to win. And for the chick that was, I'll never forget her name. I think she's a former WNBA player. Said, well, in the back of my mind, I think about Kareem leaving the Bucks and then going to the Lakers, and history repeats itself. And first of all, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a superstar talent going all the way back to high school when he was leading the Powell Memorial Academy to championships and then UCLA. Kareem is arguably the greatest collegiate player in the history of the game. Arguably still the greatest player in the history of the game, period, even when it comes to basketball. Okay? Kareem's personality never really fit Milwaukee. Okay? He never was a good fit culturally or personality-wise for the Bucks. And once Oscar Robertson, who was more aligned with Kareem's mentality and political activism, once he retired, he wanted out of Milwaukee, right? Giannis was developed in Milwaukee. Giannis was not Giannis when he first came to the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks, and the coaching, especially Jason Kidd, who was there, developed Giannis. Giannis has a sense of loyalty, something that is shockingly absent, almost extinct in today's NBA. And Giannis wants to prove that he can win in Milwaukee, period. He don't want to go to Miami. He doesn't want to do that. Do y'all guys know that Giannis is one of only 3 players in the history of the NBA to average 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in a season? The only other ones to do it are Oscar Robertson and Wilt Chamberlain. And Giannis has done it more than anybody else 3 different times. Giannis is a historically great player who's totally taken advantage of by the media because they're not doing their jobs. They just want to half-ass their jobs. They want to half-ass. They want to only go to major markets. And yeah, I'm talking about you, Stephen A. Smith. You just want to go to New York and Chicago, Miami, LA. You openly criticize and diss small markets. Openly criticize small town teams. You know what I'm saying? Because you're an elitist snob. And you've turned into an elitist snob, at least. And you guys really only cover 4 or 5 teams. You don't really want to do your job. Like I say, you want to go to these large cities, go to these prestigious clubs, off the job, and go to all these events and hang around celebrities. And that's what they want to do. Want to feel important. These ain't the same media back in the day that like to rub shoulders and be around amongst the common folk. These so-called journalists, they want to be part of the in crowd, and they despise people like Giannis. They look down on workhorses like Giannis. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm trying to come down with a cold, man. I just got over a cold. But anyway, to be honest with you, they look at Giannis as a workhorse. They want Giannis to team up with some other established superstar. You know what I'm saying? So that guy can get all the work, get all the praise. That's what they really, really want. Because I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I don't understand the state of the NBA. When you look at the last few coaches that have won championships, going back to the bubble, right? Well, hell, let me see. Let me see how far back I can go. Going back to 2019. How many championship coaches have been fired? You know what I'm saying? Nick Nurse got ultimately fired by the Raptors. Ultimately, Frank Vogel got fired by the Lakers. Ultimately, Mike Budenholzer got fired by the Bucks. In 2022, now Steve Kerr didn't get fired; he's still there. 2023, Mike Malone's been fired. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy what's going on in the NBA, man. All these players not being held accountable. Giannis holds himself accountable. You know. Now everybody like to say that Giannis got Mike Budenholzer fired. I think he knew about it and said that it gave the okay about it, but I don't think he was behind him getting fired. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy. There was all this outrage when Mike Budenholzer got fired by the Bucks, and everybody was blaming Giannis. But it's like we're the only ones that's holding any of those big three accountable when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. You know, and you know, the problem is all those guys, man. It's Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, man. And I think Bradley Beal is uncoachable. Bradley Beal is a loser who was comfortable putting up big stats on a losing team. You know, he's just not. He's an asshole. Isn't that the same dude, Bradley Beal, that once said something about the effect that something to the effect of I've never been traded. I mean, I've never been swept in the playoffs. When nigga, you never been to the playoffs. What are you talking about? I'd rather get swept in the playoffs than not ever be in the playoffs. But that's the mentality of these clowns, man. Can't win with a clown like that. It's a miracle Russell Westbrook took those Wizards to the goddamn playoffs. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. What you guys think?